Chapter 9: Materialism and Indifference. The binding influence of skepticism, of mental apathy, and unconcern regarding the higher life is so powerful after transition that many are held in a condition of helpless despair, darkness, bewilderment, and rebellion, often clinging to mortals as their only means of expression. Some years ago, a friend of ours, Mrs. F.W., was living in New York, very happily married, and leading an active, normal life. She had an understanding of the higher laws of life, but her husband, although devoted to her, maintained the viewpoint of a materialist and a fatalist. Believing in no form of religion, Mr. F.W. was convinced that death ended all, and had often declared that if his wife should pass away, he would commit suicide, and frequently urged her to promise that if he passed away first, she would take her life, but to this she would not consent. After a brief illness, this gentleman suddenly passed away, but his wife could still see him very distinctly, especially at night when he repeatedly awakened her, frightening her so that she could not sleep. Unconscious of his true condition, he still sensed that something strange had occurred, and wishing to remove the barrier which separated him from his wife, he constantly urged her to come to him, calling incessantly, "Kill yourself, you must come to me. I want you, and I will finally get you, so kill yourself." Now, the continual cry of "kill yourself" was with Mrs. F.W. day and night until she feared for her own safety. Anxious to prevent any rash act on her part, she left New York and came to us in Chicago for assistance. During an interview, the spirit of F.W. was allowed to control Mrs. Wickland, and when he found himself sitting beside his wife, he grasped her hand, kissed her wedding ring, and asked if she were angry with him, since she would not answer him when he spoke to her. Then, seizing her in his arms, he kissed her frantically and crushed her in so powerful an embrace that she could not free herself and called for aid. I explained to the spirit that he was controlling the body, a body not his own, and that he had passed out of the physical life. When he at last realized the situation, his regret for having unintentionally annoyed his wife was profound, and he was eager to learn the higher laws in order to understand how he might help her. Mrs. F.W. then returned to New York and experienced no further disturbance. F.W. became a loyal member of the Mercy Band, and in several of many communications since received from him, he related the bewilderment of one suddenly finding himself on the spirit side of life without understanding. Experience November 22nd, 1920, Spirit F.W., Psychic Mrs. Wickland. Well, here I am again. I want to come in to tell you that I have not gone. I have to speak through this instrument, but otherwise I am here to help you all do the good work you are doing. And you know I am always here ready to do what I can to help you, and also to help all who are in trouble. I want to thank you for having helped me, otherwise my wife and I would be in trouble, and through my own fault. I would not listen to the great wonders of the life beyond. When I was in my parents' home, my parents were so orthodox, so strong in their belief, that they condemned everyone who did not believe as they did, and they hypnotized themselves with the idea that nothing was right except what they thought. I could not live in that atmosphere, and I left home. I was only a boy when I left home, and why did I go? Because the atmosphere was so strongly orthodox that it drove me away. I could not believe as my parents did, and they said if I did not, I was a sinner. I was not a sinner, and I could not believe as they did, so I ran away from home. I am not sorry that I left, for I learned to know something of the outside world. I had my troubles, but I learned from them. I learned the condition outside of the church, and I learned how to battle for myself. But I was bitter, and so hard toward churches that I would not have anything to do with any religion. I had heard so much of it through childhood, and had seen too much of what was going on in the churches. I do not mean that all churches are alike, but you will find that when there is too much orthodoxy, the people are hypnotized and feel they are so good that no matter what they do, whether they are right or wrong, they are right, because they cannot do wrong. They are so holy that even the wrong they do is considered right. I traveled and saw the world, but I had a great longing for home. I came home again after I had seen enough of the world, and I thought I would remain with my parents. But the same conditions were still there. I wanted to stay at home to do my duty and work, but I could not. I felt as if I were being crushed by orthodoxy, so I went away again. I traveled still further, and I had new experiences. I opened my heart and tried to look for the brighter and happier side of life. Later on, I met one who loved me, who made a home for me. That was the first time I felt I really had a home, and it was the first time in my life that I was happy. We two had only a few short years of happiness together on earth, but those few years will always be with me. I did not think there was a life after this. I did not believe in anything. I was tired of orthodoxy and everything else. I thought when I died, that would be the end, and there would be no more. That was also wrong. Do not let us go to one side of the road or the other side, but let us stay in the middle and investigate everything. Find the truth and stay in that narrow path, the path of reason and understanding of God's wonderful manifestations. I passed to the other side of life with the thought that there was nothing after death. I passed on very suddenly. When death came, it was like a sleep. I woke up and saw my dear little wife crying. She was very sad, but I did not realize that the change had taken place. She did not listen to what I said. She did not seem to hear. I called to her and asked what was the trouble, but she did not speak to me. I wondered what was the matter, for we loved each other dearly. I began to grow stronger, and I did not want to leave her. I came in direct contact with her and felt that she must come to me and be with me, for we had never been parted. I was attracted to her through her sadness, and I felt she must come to me. I did not realize the change, and I knew she wanted to be where I was, so I made up my mind that she was coming to me. Before I knew it, I was in her magnetic aura. I stayed there because I could not get away. I was unhappy. She was unhappy. She knew the condition. Oh, wait. I was unhappy. She was unhappy. But I thank God she had an understanding of the life hereafter. She knew the condition I was in, and she wanted to free herself from the indulgence I was throwing on her. So she came to these dear people, Dr. W's. I was happy. I was helped, and so was she. We would both have been miserable if she had not understood, for I did not know anything about the life after this, and I did not care. I want to give a warning to all of you here. Do not doubt the next life. Someday you will all have to go the same way. Let us investigate. Let us know the truth before we pass on to the great beyond, so we may go with open eyes and know where we are going with a definite knowledge. If my wife had not had understanding, I would have made her take her own life. Then where would we have been? There are many passing from earth life who are in a similar state, who find themselves in somebody's magnetic aura and cannot get out, and then they obsess that person. I wanted to get out of my misery, but I did not know how, and the only way I could think was that my wife should come to me. When there is an understanding of life, then one cannot be in such a situation as I was when I passed the spirit side of life. I want to thank you all for helping me. Since I have been helping other unfortunate spirits that cannot see and do not know of the higher life, I am happy. So I am working, and now I can be with my dear wife to help and guide her. Learn all you can of the wonderful life beyond. I wish every one of you here would do your part to spread the truth that there is a life after this and that we must find it. If we do not learn this while in the body, we must do so when we reach the other side. Many, many times we are sorry that we did not look into the truth before we passed out of earth life. I want to say a few words to the two young girls who are about to leave here. One had been a patient, the other a companion. When you leave, keep in your hearts what you have learned. Remember it and learn more, because you will have to protect yourselves. Learn all you can. Help others in similar trouble, and you will help yourself and gain strength. Now that you have found the truth, do not put your light under a bushel. Helping others will strengthen you. You will receive strength and power to keep well, and you will not then be obsessed anymore. Each and every one should be proud to help spread the truth, because there is a wave of obsession going on everywhere. Let us all do our part and do our work while we are here, gaining all the knowledge of the life beyond that we can. This is FW. Goodbye. Experience January 18, 1922. Spirit FW, Psychic Mrs. Wickland. How do you do? Don't you know me? I think you should. This is FW. The time must come when there will be circles of this kind in every little society, every church. Then people will not be taken to the insane asylum. They will be helped. Many of the poor afflicted ones who are in the asylums are controlled by spirits and should be helped, but most persons think they are not worth bothering about. They prefer to send people to the insane asylum and let them stay there. We must not condemn the spirits who are controlling sensitives, because they were not taught regarding the higher life while in the physical, and have no knowledge of it. Many believe that after death, they will go straight to heaven, and will see God on a throne, and there they will sit and sing and eat figs and all that. When I was a boy, my father and mother were very religious. My father professed holiness, and the environment was such that I felt as if I were being pulled to pieces. I could not stand the atmosphere at home. My father and mother were good people, but had such a narrow way of thinking that I felt I was in a cage, so I ran away when I was only a child. I had many struggles and many hardships, but I thank God today that I ran away. I learned many bitter lessons during my life, but I also learned not to be a mere believer. And when I reached the spirit side of life and received an explanation of my changed condition, I was not held back by any orthodox religious doctrine. When I was on earth, I made the best I could of circumstances, but when it came to religion, I did not believe in anything. I felt that death was all and there was nothing more. I would not and could not believe as my parents did. I felt God was the life of all things, not an angry God who threatened hell and damnation as the churches taught. I felt there was nothing after this, and after that, death, all would be ended. And that after death, all would be ended. I made up my mind to do my best while on earth. I went to church sometimes. I traveled around, saw the world, and gained experience which is worth a great deal to me now. After I was married, my wife taught me a little about the other side of life, a more cheerful view than the orthodox one. Still, I did not believe. However, there was a little light of understanding. I wanted my wife to promise that if I should die first, she would go too, and if she went first, I would follow. She would not make that promise, because she understood more about the next life than I did. The time came when I had to leave, and very suddenly. I seemed to go into a pleasant sleep of rest, and woke up. Where? It says in the Bible, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. My treasure was my dear little wife, and when I woke up, I found myself in her magnetic aura. She would not pay any attention to me, and I wondered what could be the trouble, and why she would not talk to me when I spoke to her. I felt queer, and I did not know where I was. Death is only a sleep as natural as that which you have every night on earth. When one awakens from the sleep of death, everything is so natural that you feel you are still with your relatives. Then if you get into a person's magnetic aura, you live right with him, and you are there. I was in my wife's aura and could not realize why I should have to go wherever she went, and not be an independent individual as I used to be, and it annoyed me. I felt desperate. I felt that my wife must come with me. I did not know where, but I wanted her. My love for her was so strong that I tormented her against my will, because I had no understanding of the real life on the other side. I loved my wife dearly, yet I disturbed her, for I did not know any better, and she was tormented by the one who loved but idolized her. But she came to these kind people, Dr. W's, and was freed, and I thank you, as I have many times before, for having helped us both. I had to learn by experience. When we know about the other side, we are happy to go and meet friends who have already gone over. It is very necessary for everyone to know the truth, because we all have to take that journey. I know now that God is love. God is everywhere. Since he is love and wisdom, he knows the past, present, and future. How could he then have created a world only to lose control of it? For if he later found the people full of sin, he certainly must have lost control of his creation. Yet the churches teach that having lost control of the world, God created a person for their particular purpose of being sacrificed, and that those who believe this will win a golden crown. Let us not misconstrue God. God knows everything, and he reveals himself to himself. Everything has life in nature. Where can you go without life, without God? He is in everything. Humanity should know that each is a part of this wonderful life. Nothing should be condemned because everything in nature is perfect. Any disturbances in nature are only for development. As soon as you have trouble and something disturbs you, you begin to long for a higher life. You want to attain it, and you work for that end. Life goes on the other side, and is always progressive. Teach children the truth. Teach the higher things of life. All is God. Now I must go. Good night. In the following case, the apathy and characteristics of the spirit were recognized by Mrs. H.W., the mother of the patient, who had known the spirit well during his earth life. He was the son of a neighbor, and his statements were confirmed by the patient and her mother, who were from Chicago and both present in the circle. Experienced December 2nd, 1919. Frank Berquist, patient. Spirit, Frank Berquist, patient, Mrs. A. Psychic, Mrs. Wickland. Doctor, who are you, friend? Some sleepy one. Wake up and tell us who you are. Have you found a happy condition or not? Spirit, no. Doctor, why not? Spirit, I don't know. Doctor, what was the trouble? Didn't you have any faith? Or did you have too much? Spirit, I don't know what is the matter with me. Doctor, do you know who you are? Spirit, no. Doctor, can't you recall your name or anything about yourself? Do you know how long you have been dead? Spirit, I don't know. Doctor, where do you think you are? Spirit, I don't know. Doctor, have you been sleeping for many years? Spirit, not many. I don't feel natural. Doctor, does it interest you to know the reason? I just want to say, if you ever find yourself dead or in darkness like that, and people are offering you things, as tempting as it may be to dismiss them or not care or feel like you want to go exploring, if you can find any will to stop and listen to what they say, it's probably good advice. Spirit, I can't find out. I have asked many, but they do not understand, and they do not know. They cannot inform me. Doctor, they have been in darkness as well as yourself. What have you been doing recently? Spirit, doing nothing. Doctor, don't you get tired of doing nothing? Spirit, it is monotonous. But what can you do? Doctor, acquire understanding. Spirit, how can you find it? Doctor, you cannot find understanding. You have to develop your mind. You are controlling a woman's body, yet possibly you claim to be a man. Are you a man or a woman? Spirit, I am a man, but I have been a woman so long, I do not know. I do not know. Confusing himself with the patient, Mrs. A. Doctor, you have been a woman a long time? Have you caused trouble? Spirit, not that I know of. Doctor, don't you find that things do not seem right? Spirit, it has been queer. I told you that before. Doctor, did anything disturb you? Spirit, a whole lot. Doctor, what woke you up and disturbed you and caused you to come here? Spirit, I don't know. Doctor, have you been disturbed at all? Have you had any peculiar experience lately? Spirit, yes. Doctor, in what way? Spirit, in many ways. I cannot talk as I want to talk, and I cannot do as I please to do. Doctor, what do you please to do? Spirit, I like to talk and sing. Doctor, have you not been able to do that? Spirit, no. Doctor, what is your name, if I may ask? Spirit, I don't know. Doctor, surely you do. Spirit, it seems I have forgotten everything I ever knew. Doctor, there probably was not much to forget anyhow. That is very often the case. What did you do in life? Spirit, any little thing now and then. Doctor, did you have a religious belief of any kind? Spirit, yawning and stretching lazily. Why, yes. Doctor, what did you believe in? Spirit, I believed in God and Christ and the devil and the other things. Doctor, have you seen any of them? You have probably been dead a long time. Spirit, I don't know. I do not feel dead. Mrs. H.W., were you a Baptist, a Methodist, or what? Spirit, I was a little of everything. Mrs. H.W., where did you live? Spirit, I don't know. I'm tired. Doctor, you have been sleeping long enough. What else have you been doing? Spirit, nothing. Doctor, don't you get tired of that? Spirit, you get pretty tired of doing nothing. It is monotonous, and to be a full woman all the time. I have seen nothing but women, 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 and women, other spirits obsessing patient. I saw nothing else. Doctor, don't you get tired of women? Spirit, they do get pretty monotonous. Doctor, do they know you are there? Spirit, I don't know. I talk, but they do not answer me. Doctor, that is very foolish. Spirit, it seems so to me. Doctor, do you seem to be in a strange condition yourself? Spirit, I cannot tell what it is, but it is queer. Doctor, you don't care very much. Spirit, no, I don't care. Doctor, isn't that an uncomfortable condition to be in? Spirit, I have been walking from one place to another. Doctor, why did you do that? Spirit, I had nothing else to do. Doctor, couldn't you find any work? Spirit, nobody wanted me. Doctor, what could you do? Spirit, anything, but nothing in particular. Doctor, where did you live? Spirit, in Chicago at times. Doctor, did you go from one city to another? Spirit, I was in Rockford and Galesburg. I was anywhere, everywhere. It is a tiresome job. Doctor, you must have been born tired. You are so indifferent. Spirit, what was the use? Doctor, did you try to understand the wonderful facts of life? Spirit, life? No. Doctor, I suppose you only believe that Christ died for your sins, and that is a lazy man's job. That is not enough. Spirit, it's good enough for me. It was good enough for my father and mother, and it's good enough for me. Doctor, are your father and mother alive? Spirit, why yes, I think so, but I don't know. Doctor, where did they live? Chicago? Spirit, somewhere around Bethany Home, near the Methodist church. Doctor, did your father and mother belong to that church? Spirit, yes. Doctor, what was your father's name? Spirit, I don't know. Doctor, what was your name? Spirit, it's such a long time since I heard it, and I don't know. Mrs. H.W., recognizing from the foregoing the traits of a former neighbor. Was it Frank? Spirit, I don't care what you call me. Call me anything. Doctor, we don't want to do that. Spirit, I don't care. Call me anything. I am pleased with anything. Doctor, you are mentally lazy. Spirit, what's the use? Mrs. H.W., do you know anybody by the name of B? Spirit, a long time ago. Mrs. H.W., who was he? Spirit, he was somebody. Mrs. H.W., were you related to him by marriage? Whom did he marry? Spirit, he married somebody I knew. Doctor, what was her name? Spirit, names have gone from my memory. Yes, I know, it was my sister. Say, I don't know what is the matter with me. Doctor, you are dead. Spirit, dead? Then I'm gone. Doctor, do you remember how you died? Spirit, I don't know, I was dead. How can I remember how I died? Doctor, well, you are dead. Spirit, I am? That's a funny thing. But I don't care. Doctor, you are occupying a lady's body now. Spirit, I've had enough of ladies. I've been walking and walking between ladies until I am sick and tired of them. Doctor, I think you were born with that tired feeling. Spirit, I think so myself, because I am always tired. I do not care very much for work anyhow. It was just as well not to work. I was born to be traveling around, because I was never satisfied to be in one place. I liked to see the world. I did not want to do very much except what came along, just enough so I could get along. Doctor, were you a sort of tramp? Were you a sort of tramp? Spirit, I was a little better than a tramp, but next door to it. Mrs. H.W., do you remember that you had a twin brother? Spirit, something like that. But what is the matter with me anyhow? I cannot recall anything. Everything is gone. I do not know for sure what is my name. Doctor, sit quietly and think. Spirit, after a moment. It is Berquist. I think it is Frank. Yes, it is Frank. I heard that some years ago. It is an awful long time since I heard it. It seems so far away that is miles and miles away that name is. It seems like I was walking away from it. The more I walked, the more I forgot. After a while I walked so long that I forgot who I was. I walked with women, 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 until I thought I was a woman myself, and really sometimes I thought I was. And probably I am a woman, for all I know and for all I care. But what is the use anyway? Mrs. H.W., did you live on Paulina Street, Ravenswood? Chicago. Spirit, yes, Chicago. That was where I was some of the time. Doctor, do you know where you are now? Spirit, in Chicago. Doctor, you are in California. Spirit, California? Well, if I didn't walk after those women, clear to California. Well, that was a long walk. I know I haven't been writing. I have walked for miles and miles and miles. At last I got to California. That was some walk. I am pretty tired. Why did you tell me I walked that far? Because that makes me very tired, and now I feel I have to rest. Mrs. H.W., that is natural for you. Do you know me? Spirit, I thought when I looked at you I had seen that face before. Didn't you go to the Methodist church? I think I have seen you there. Mrs. H.W., do you remember the bakery on W Avenue, across the street from the boys' home? Spirit, some time ago that was. Mrs. H.W., look at me again and see if I am not the one who had that store. Spirit, yes, and you had 2 girls. Mrs. H.W., yes, I did. Would you know one of them if you saw her? Would you know L? Spirit, I didn't know them very much. I liked that girl, but you could only look at those girls with one eye. Mrs. H.W., somebody looked at them with 2 eyes. They are both married. Spirit, I looked at them with 1/4 of an eye. They wouldn't look at a fellow like me. Doctor, has anybody else looked at you? Spirit, I don't know. Women, women, women. I have been with them. It's a funny world anyhow. Doctor, what did they call you when you felt that you were a woman? Spirit, I don't hear anything. Of course, I have had a long walk if I have walked to California. Sometimes I got chased out when I was behind, then I ran as fast as I could, and sometimes I got in front. Doctor, in front of what? Spirit, the people. Do you suppose I walked that long distance alone? I was walking with a big crowd. Spirit's obsessing patient. At times I was before, and then I was behind. What's the use? We all talked the same thing. Doctor, Where did you get food when you were out walking? Spirit, I didn't seem to need much. I have learned to fast. Doctor, didn't you go to different houses and ask for food? Spirit, at times, but that was long ago. Somebody said if you fast 3 or 4 days, you would not feel your stomach. It was a bother to feel hungry if you didn't have anything to eat. I fasted pretty good, and it was a good thing I did. Mrs. H.W., did your parents live on the top floor? Spirit, in the basement. Doctor, to Mrs. H.W., is that correct? Mrs. H.W., yes, it is. I think his parents are dead now. Spirit, they are. When did they die? Mrs. H.W., not long ago. Your mother died a year ago and your father a few months ago. Spirit, who told you that? Mrs. H.W., your sister. Spirit, why didn't she tell me? Mrs. H.W., you are dead. Spirit, dead? I am dead? I feel full of life. Mrs. H.W., didn't you used to go to saloons? Spirit, oh, don't talk like that in company. Mrs. H.W., we have no company. Spirit, I went, but don't tell them that. Mrs. H.W., why don't you want them to know? Spirit, because they wouldn't like it. Mother doesn't like me to go there. Mrs. H.W., you had a good father and mother. Spirit, I wanted to live my life, but they wanted to live mine for me. Mrs. H.W., what did you do when you were home with them? Spirit, nothing. Mrs. H.W., didn't you help in the kitchen? Spirit, Mother wanted me to, but I didn't do very much of anything. I used to wash the dishes for her, but I didn't want to do it. Mrs. H.W., she made you. Spirit, you know, she said, if you want to eat, you will have to work. Say, that isn't right. I always like to slip out if I could. That's natural. Doctor, no, it is not. It may be to some, but not to others. Spirit, everybody likes to get out and do some idling around. You want a little freedom. Mrs. H.W., you wanted all freedom. You wanted to just loaf around. Spirit, I worked sometimes, once in a while. I gave my mother money at times, but it was not often I had any. Mrs. H.W., you like best to walk from door to door and beg your food and get $5 wherever you could. Spirit, what was the use anyhow? Doctor, we want you to understand that you have passed out of your body. You have been dead a long time. This lady, Mrs. H.W., seems to know who you are. Spirit, she made good biscuits. I wish sometimes I had one. Mrs. H.W., did you ever have any of my donuts? Spirit, yes, sometimes you gave me some. I was supposed to look for work, but some way or another I did not work, and I didn't care very much either. Doctor, now then, understand, friend, that you are so-called dead. You have been an ignorant spirit for a long time, in the outer darkness which the Bible speaks of. This is not your body. Spirit, yes it is. Doctor, it is my wife's. Spirit, how could I be your wife when I am a man? Doctor, you are an invisible spirit. We do not see you. We only hear you talk. Do you recognize these hands, indicating hands of the psychic? Spirit, I have been so strange for a long time. What in the world is it? It has been so strange at times. There was lightning and thunder, electricity given the patient, and it bothered me terribly. I have not been left alone for 1 minute. It was fierce, that thunder and lightning. The lightning is the worst. The thunder, it is not so bad. The lightning is so bad that it doesn't seem as if I should really see afterwards. I should say it was coming down in torrents. It seemed as if you got knocked in the head and then got it again and again. It was wonderful how you got it. It was a wonder. It was wonderful how you got it. It was a wonder, for it woke me up. It woke me up good and plenty at times, so that I could not stand it any longer. Mrs. H.W., I am glad of it. Spirit, I don't see why you should be glad. Mrs. H.W., I will tell you why I'm glad. You have been bothering my daughter for a long time. Spirit, how do you know I have? Mrs. H.W., that is the reason you are with women all the time. You are ignorant and have been troubling my daughter. You got thunder and lightning for it when my daughter had electric treatments and you got out. I am glad of it. Doctor, I am the one who gave the electricity to you. We chase ignorant spirits away with it. Spirit, I think you had better be a little milder with it then. Doctor, I do not like to give it, but it is sometimes necessary. Spirit, I do not see why I should need to have so much of it coming down like thunder and lightning. You get it in the head like a sledgehammer. Spirit, I didn't, Doctor, but we succeeded in driving you from the lady. Spirit, I didn't bother any lady. I didn't have a chance. I was walking behind them, and that does not seem to me that I had any way of bothering them. Mrs. H.W., you surely bothered my daughter. Doctor, that was why we had to give you electricity. Were there any others with you? Spirit, there are many with us. Doctor, are there any more left? Spirit, I don't know. There are some that come and go. Doctor, they will get electricity every time they come. Spirit, I'm not going to have it anymore. I don't think I need it. Doctor, if you stay around, you will get it. Spirit, I don't care for any more. Doctor, have you ever been called Mrs. A? Spirit, no, I was never a woman, so I never could be anybody by that name. I was with women. Doctor, did you ever hear the name at all? Spirit, no. Mrs. H.W., that's my daughter's name, and you got that electricity for being around her. Spirit, did you order that for me? Mrs. H.W., yes, I did. Spirit, then you are a bad woman to do that. Mrs. H.W., I wanted you to leave my daughter alone. Spirit, I told you I've never bothered your daughter. I walked behind the women. Doctor, you walked a little too close. You were the only man among so many women. Were you the only man among so many women? Spirit, there is something like what you would call a line, and you have to walk in that line, and you cannot go out. I did not want to work. The patient suffered from a heavy listlessness. Mrs. H.W., you were too lazy. Spirit, what was the use when you could get your food without? It is just as well to take things instead of working yourself to death. Doctor, that is a poor argument. People who accomplish something are happy. Spirit, I do not fancy it. If people want to work like slaves, they are welcome to it. For me, I would not work. Doctor, to Mrs. H.W., is that like this man's disposition? Mrs. H.W., yes, every inch of him. His name is Berquist. Spirit, how do you know? Mrs. H.W., your disposition and actions are clear to me. Spirit, how can you know one's name before you know the person? Mrs. H.W., I know you by your actions. I used to know you well. I knew your brother, who went to war in Cuba. He came home, had consumption, and died. Spirit, I had another brother who died. Doctor, now friend, I want you to understand. Mrs. H.W., listen to the doctor. Spirit, doctor, I am not sick. Mrs. H.W., you need advice from the doctor. Spirit, advice? Then I must go to a lawyer. When I was sick, I went to a doctor. When I needed advice, I would go to a lawyer. Doctor, you are mentally sick. Spirit, I wouldn't say I'm sick. I feel pretty good. I feel better than I have for years and years in the past. Doctor, you will not feel yourself so very long unless you change your attitude. You are controlling my wife's body. Spirit, I can do as I please for that matter. Doctor, you cannot in this instance. You think that I want you to sit here indefinitely controlling my wife's body? Look at those hands. Are they yours? Wake up and don't be so sleepy. Do you know that hand? Spirit, how did I get it? I have been with women so much that I have a woman's hands. Doctor, you must wake up and listen. The fact is, you are ignorant spirit. You have been taken away from that lady. You have been taken away from that lady. You have been bothering her for a long time. You lost your body years ago. Spirit, that doesn't interest me. Doctor, it will have to. You died a long time ago. You are invisible spirit. You have been hovering around this lady and troubling her. She has been brought to California to be freed from spirits, of which you are one, and I have had to give her the electricity to get rid of you. You have been driven away from her and allowed to control my wife's body. The point is, you will have to leave this body and become sensible. Spirit, I want to ask you this. If I haven't any sense, what will you do? Mother used to say I had no sense. Doctor, you have been lazy, but you will now have to use the sense that God gave you, even if it is only a little. You cannot be lazy any longer. Spirit, I will not work either. Doctor, you will have to in the spirit life. Spirit, how do you know? How do you know they will make me work? Doctor, you will be glad to work. You cannot bother people anymore. Spirit, what do you mean? Doctor, ignorant spirits hover around the earth plane, interfering with mortals, and make them act as if insane. Spirit, what is a poor fellow to do? Doctor, use the sense God gave you. Spirit, I have none. What am I to do? You say I am controlling a body. That does not belong to me? Doctor, yes. You must leave this body and listen to spirits who will help you. My wife allows you to control her body in order to free the other lady. Spirit, what kind of wife is that? Doctor, she is a psychic sensitive who allows ignorant spirits like yourself to control her body. If you will look around, you will find spirits who will help you. Spirits? Doctor, you will find spirits who will help you and teach you how to progress. You can also find happiness. Spirit, my legs are getting numb. Doctor, that body is not yours. We do not see you. Spirit, no? Doctor, you are invisible to us. Can you understand that? Spirit, I suppose I can't get that in my head. Doctor, look around and you will find invisibles like yourself who will help you. Spirit, I don't need help. Doctor, you do. You need help to progress to the spirit land. Spirit, where is that place? Doctor, it is an invisible plane around the earth, and you will find it if you look for it. You will be taught that life is something worthwhile. Spirit, I think I could go to sleep. Doctor, if you do, I will give you some more electricity. Mrs. H.W., think of the sorrow you caused your mother. Spirit, I was a fool. Doctor, you were not one. You allowed yourself to be one. You were lazy. Spirit, Mother is here. Spirit, but I can't see what she wants with me. Doctor, listen to what she says. Spirit, she says, you have been a very wayward boy. Now try to wake up and be different, because life is different on this side, and you will have to earn your happiness. Doctor, then you will find that life is worthwhile. Spirit, Mother seems to be very happy. Doctor, she will help you if you are in earnest. Spirit, I want to go with her. I must learn. Doctor, you must be obedient. Spirit, Mother says she is happy. She got me to come to her now. I am happy in my way to see her. Doctor, try to realize that life means something. Spirit, I will go with her then. She says I must not bother that lady anymore. After the last bombarding I got, I will leave that body alone. I thought my head would come off. I got it all right. Mrs. H.W., you certainly did. Can you see your sister F? Spirit, she's here with a lot of people. I think I will go now. Doctor, how will you go? I will explain to you. Spirit, no, I am ready to go. Doctor, how? Spirit, I will get up and go, trying in vain to rise. I can't move. Move. Doctor, you have only partial control of this body. You will have to think yourself out with your mother. Spirit, think myself. Doctor, you will have to travel by thought. Spirit, you come over there, Mother. You come over there, Mother, pointing. Then I will jump over to you by thought. Sitting still for a moment, then laughing heartily. I can't jump. That would be quite a jump. Doctor, you are in California now. How long does it take you to think yourself in Chicago? You can be there instantly in thought, for you have no physical body to take with you. In the spirit world, thought is the motive power. Spirit, now I am going to think quick and jump, but I don't get there. Doctor, you must relax and quietly think yourself with your mother, and then you will lose control of this body. Mrs. H.W., can you see F, your sister? Spirit, yes, and father too. They are coming to get me. They say they want me to reform and to be a good fellow. Yes, I suppose I must. Doctor, you must go now. Your first lesson in spirit life is to think properly. Spirit, seems foolish to me to think. My mother says thank you, and please forgive me for my ignorance. Goodbye. Many earthbound spirits are conscious of influencing mortals, but enjoy their power, seeming to be without scruples. Often these have, during earth life, turned away from orthodoxy and become hardened to higher ethics and ideals. A spirit of this type was dislodged from Mr. G, who had since childhood been subject to violent attacks of temper. During the weeks when the spirit was being brought to the front, preparatory to removal, Mr. G was very irritable, especially when driving his automobile, and developed moods during which he wished to be away from everyone. After the spirit was dislodged, the gentleman's characteristics changed completely, and he became natural again. Both Mr. and Mrs. G were present at the time of the spirit communication of the spirit controlled. Both Mr. and Mrs. G were present at the time the spirit controlled Mrs. Wickland. Experience September 21st, 1922. Spirit Fred Haupt. Patient Mr. G. Psychic Mrs. Wickland. The spirit made violent attempts to escape, and when the hands of the psychic were held, fought furiously. Doctor, who are you? Come, be sensible. This will not do you any good. There is no use in fighting. Who are you? Spirit, it's none of your business who I am. I don't want to be here with you. I didn't want to come here. I will not come any more. You won't trap me again. Doctor, with whom did you come? Spirit, it's none of your business who I came with. Doctor, how long have you been dead? Spirit, I'm not dead. You will find that I won't stand for anything. To Mrs. G, you don't care for me anymore. Doctor, I don't care for you? Spirit, I don't mean you. I'm going to fight you all right. You gave me that awful lightning on my head and back. Patient's electrical treatment. Doctor, that was electricity. It evidently put life into you. Spirit, I told you many times that I would never come here again. Doctor, how long have you been dead? Spirit, dead. I'm not dead, and you're not going to make me come here anymore. You think you have me this time, but I'll fix you. You don't trap me anymore. I get so mad at you. Doctor, what are you so angry about? Spirit, the world and everybody. Doctor, if you have a grudge on your mind, perhaps we can help you remove it. Spirit, you go your way and I'll go mine. I'm through. You can just go wherever you please. You think you've got me where you have control over me, but you'll find you will get left. I will not tell you anything, so you don't need to ask. Doctor, we are anxious to know who you are. Spirit, that makes no difference to me. You think you have me in your claws, but you'll get left. Doctor, won't you tell us who you are? Spirit, I don't want to get acquainted with you, and you don't need to get acquainted with me. I want to be all by myself, and I'm going out. I don't want anyone around me. I want to be alone. I enjoy my own company best. Doctor, what experiences have you had? Spirit, I will not talk to you anymore. Doctor, how do you happen to be here? Spirit, you made me come with those funny lights. Electricity. Doctor, it will relieve you if you will tell us what you have on your mind, because we can help you. Where did you get that ring you are wearing? Referring to the ring on the hand of the psychic. Spirit, that's none of your business. It needn't bother you where I got it. Doctor, were you always so sarcastic? Spirit, you keep your hands off me. I will go. Doctor, where will you go? Spirit, that makes no difference to you where I go, and I don't care where you go either. Doctor, but you have no place to go. Spirit, angrily, do you think I am a tramp? I always had enough money to pay for my lodging. I can go where I want. Doctor, then you were somewhat of a gentleman. Spirit, when I am in gentleman's company, then I am a gentleman. You don't need to talk to me, for I don't care for you with your electric sparks. Doctor, are you despondent? Spirit, no, I'm mad. Doctor, tell us who you are. Spirit, I have no use for you. As soon as you leave your hands off me, I will attend to myself. Doctor, what will you do then? Spirit, that's none of your business. Doctor, tell us how long you've been dead. Spirit, I'm not dead and never have been. Doctor, would you understand if I should tell you it's 1922? Would you believe it? Spirit, I won't have anything to do with you. I have no business here. I'll never go to that place again. Doctor, we did not ask you to come here. Spirit, you put me in a prison. Doctor, how did you get into prison? Who put you there? Spirit, you put me there yesterday. Doctor, is that so? Spirit, I will haunt you until you don't know where you are at. Doctor, I'm used to things like that. Spirit, I will attend to all my business, and you will attend to yours. We part right here. I will have nothing more to do with you. I'm going my own way, and you can go yours. Doctor, suppose we will not let you. Try to understand your situation. You are a spirit, and have lost your mortal body. Spirit, I don't care if I have lost my mortal body 10,000 times. What of that? I am living just as well as if I had my body. What do I care? Doctor, whose body are you talking through? Spirit, I have many bodies. I go from one place to another. I can be a lady at one time and a gentleman at another. Nobody can catch me. Doctor, this time somebody has caught you, and you will have to stop interfering with the lives of others. Spirit, I have been attending to my own business for many years. Doctor, didn't you say you had been in prison? Spirit, that won't last long. Doctor, if you don't change your behavior, you will be put into a dark dungeon. Spirit, you'll get left. I've been in tight places before and always got out. Doctor, did you ever own a Ford car? Spirit, no, I didn't. What's that? Doctor, I'll tell you a story. A man who owned a Ford machine died, and his last request was that his Ford should be placed in his grave with him. Spirit, what for? Doctor, he said that his Ford had helped him out of many a tight place. Spirit, did they put it in? Doctor, oh, I suppose so. Spirit, haha, such fools. They couldn't have a car with them if they are dead. Doctor, don't you know there is no actual death? No one really dies. Spirit, you say I am not dead. Doctor, your body is dead. Spirit, well, I can be just what I want. Sometimes a man, sometimes a woman. Doctor, no, you cannot. You only obsess men and women. Spirit, no, I don't. If I want, I can boss the whole family. I have a mighty good time. I go where I please. I'm my own boss. If I'm hungry, sometimes I eat, sometimes I don't. The best thing to work up an appetite is to get hungry. Then you eat everything, and it tastes good. If you are not hungry, nothing tastes good. I tell you, I'm no spirit. Doctor, you are talking through my wife's body. Spirit, we are just wasting time, so I will go. Doctor, you and I are going to be good friends, I hope. Spirit, I will have nothing to do with you. Doctor, come, friend. Let us talk things over. Life is a wonderful thing. We can talk, we can think and act, and yet we do not know ourselves. Spirit, you don't? Well, that's too bad about you. Doctor, did you ever stop to think how wonderful sound is? Spirit, it's no more wonderful than anything else. Now let me go. I don't want you to hold me any longer. Doctor, no, I can't let you go until you behave yourself. Spirit, if you didn't hold me, I would knock you down as quick as lightning. I can get mad. I have a temper. Doctor, now Johnny, listen to what I have to say. Spirit, Johnny, that's not my name. I will not tell you what it is. Doctor, did you kill anyone? And is that why you are so full of hatred? Spirit, no, I am an honest man. I want to have my own way, and I always do. I get so mad. Doctor, what church did you belong to? Spirit, that's none of your business. Doctor, were you a minister or a deacon? Spirit, no, I wasn't. I'll not tell you anything, so keep still, closing lips firmly. Doctor, why are you sitting so quietly? Spirit, be still. I am thinking. I want to be by myself. Doctor, what evil thoughts have you in your mind now? Spirit, you look out, asking me such questions. When I get mad, I could knock this house down in a minute. I could knock everybody down. Doctor, talk is cheap. Spirit, you might as well say big things as little ones. Doctor, tell us who you are and how long you have been dead. Spirit, stamping feet violently and struggling. If I could get loose, I'd show you I'm not dead. I've told you that before. Now keep quiet. Doctor, but you are talking through my wife's body. Spirit, just let me get free and I'll show you a few things. Doctor, that is bombastic talk and does not amount to anything. You are talking through my wife's body. Spirit, I will not listen to you any longer. I have no use whatever for you. Only for that electricity you couldn't have chased me out and put me in prison. I'll knock you down when I get loose. We can part right here. You're going your way and I'm going mine. That will suit me just right. Doctor, but we want to part friends. Spirit, you say friends. You can never find a friend in me when you give me electricity like you did. Doctor, those were just friendly taps. That was the best thing that ever happened to you. Spirit, sarcastically, you think so? Doctor, try to understand that you are talking through my wife's body. Spirit, I don't want to have anything to do with your wife. All women can go their way and I'll go mine. I want nothing to do with women, and I don't want your wife any more than the rest. I never knew your wife. Keep her yourself. Doctor, you are talking through my wife's body. You cannot realize your condition because you are so ignorant. Spirit, you are just as ignorant as I am. Doctor, be free and open-minded. Try to realize that you are a spirit. You are a foolish spirit and do not know it. Spirit, a gentleman to call a man a fool. Doctor, you are a foolish, selfish spirit. If you were intelligent, you would listen to me. Spirit, I don't care. Just leave my hands alone. Doctor, I am not holding your hands. I'm holding my wife's hands. Spirit, for God's sake, can't you see I'm a man? Don't mix your wife with me. Take her. I'm sure I don't want her. Doctor, if you were not stubborn, you would realize there is something the matter with you. Look at your hands. Spirit, refusing to look. They are mine. If I could get loose, I would show you a thing or two. I have more strength now than I've had for some time. Now I can talk again. Before, someone always interfered with me. Now I am myself and can talk and fight. Doctor, you are talking through my wife's body. Spirit, I'll knock you in the head if you don't stop talking about your wife. Doctor, my wife is a psychic. Spirit, well, what of that? What do I care? I don't care if your wife is 1,000 psychics. Doctor, intelligent spirits have brought you here to be helped, and unless you are willing to listen to reason, you will be put in a dungeon. Spirit, you can do just as you please. Doctor, what do you gain by acting this way? We are trying to bring you to an understanding. Spirit, I was converted once by a rascal of a minister. He took all of my money and then kicked me out. Doctor, probably that was a good thing for you. Spirit, what? To kick me out? I just asked him a few questions about life and he said, you big sinner, get out of here. All he wanted was money. Doctor, but that didn't settle the question of life. Spirit, the question of life. Life is life, that's all. We are born here, we stay here for a while, then we go. Doctor, where was the church you speak of? What denomination? Spirit, I will not tell my secrets to you. I will not talk anything about myself. I won't tell my name or the ministers. Doctor, you do not understand that you are among friends. We can help you. You will find we can help you to understand things of which you are ignorant now. I have told you many times that you have lost your body and are a spirit, and yet you do not understand it. Spirit, I have not lost my body because I have lots of bodies. Mr. G, how could you have more than one body? Spirit, I don't know about that, but I had enjoyment with others. Mrs. G, how did you find these others? Spirit, I don't know, but that doesn't bother me a bit. Mr. G, how could you be a man one time and a woman another? Spirit, I didn't stop to think about any of that. I don't know myself. Mr. G, who brought you here? Spirit, they brought me here. Mr. G, who? Spirit, I don't know. I was not going to come at all, but they made me come. I said I would never come here anymore. Mr. G, have you been here before? Spirit, sometimes. Mr. G, who brought you here? Spirit, I told you. I didn't know. Mr. G, look closely. Don't you recognize the ones who brought you here? Spirit, I don't know and I don't care. Mr. G, have we ever talked to you before? Spirit, it seems so. Doctor, do you recognize the man talking to you? You may have been friends. Mr. G, is there anyone here whom you have seen before? Spirit, I don't know. With all that electricity on my head, it hurts, and I feel like knocking somebody down. Mrs. G, how did you get here? Spirit, that's nobody's business. I have a temper that no one can conquer. I get mad as quick as lightning, and it comes like thunder. Mrs. G, when you get into another body, do you have a temper at that time? Spirit, yes, I have a bad temper. I don't know why I get mad sometimes, but I get mad like fury at everything. I have to go here and there. Mrs. G, can't you stay at a certain place if you want to? Spirit, no, I have to go along, and then I get so mad. Mr. G, you are not independent then. Spirit, I don't know. I get so furious when I have to go places I don't want to go. I get awful mad. Mr. G, would you like to get over being mad? Pointing to Dr. W. There's a gentleman who can tell you all about your condition, as he is a physician. Doctor, if you will be sensible, we can help you. Spirit, sometimes I fly off about things that don't amount to a pinch of snuff. I don't know why I do that. Doctor, you allow yourself to fly to pieces over nothing. Spirit, things don't always go my way, and when they don't, I don't feel right. Sometimes I feel as if I did not have whole control, and I'm only half and half, and then I get mad. Doctor, you are hovering around people and using their bodies. You are not really dead. The mind is one thing, and the body another. You have lost your mortal body, and your spiritual body looks like your mortal body. You are ignorant of your condition and come in touch with mortals who are sensitive. Then you try to control them, but they have wills of their own too. Spirit, I always get mad at that machine. Mrs. G, don't you like machinery? Spirit, no. I feel sometimes as if I could knock it all to pieces. I get so mad at it. I wonder if he's talking about the car. Oh, he just asked right now. Mrs. G, do you mean the automobile? Spirit, I don't know. What does that mean? Is it the machine that runs without horses? Doctor, you have never seen an automobile, have you? Spirit, it is a machine that goes whizzz, circling arms around wildly. Doctor, have you never seen one of those machines? Who is president? Spirit, I don't know. I haven't read papers for years. Wow. Doctor, was McKinley the president? Spirit, no, Cleveland. Doctor, do you remember the Chicago World's Fair? Spirit, no, I don't. Doctor, where did you live? Spirit, I lived in Kansas. Mr. G, whose early years were spent in Kansas? In H or N? Doctor, you talk things over with that gentleman, Mr. G. Mr. G, did you know a family there called G? Spirit, yes, they lived in that pretty house, a big house. Mr. G, did you live in N? Spirit, no, a little outside. I was a helper here and there. I never stayed long in one place. Mr. G, did you live on farms? Spirit, yes, where they had horses. I don't like to ride in that church. I get so mad when things don't go just right. Mr. G, you can go so much further with a machine than you can with horses. Spirit, I like air. And you don't always have the windows open in that machine. Shut up in there. Mr. G, were you ever sick or did you have an accident? Spirit, I'm not quite sure, but it seems I have something the matter with my head. I do not really know what happened. I lose my temper so often. I don't know I know there is something the matter with me. Mr. G, do you remember any of the G boys? Spirit, I have heard of them. Mr. G, how old were you? About as old as R. Spirit, he was that stout fellow. Mr. G, were you as old as he? Spirit, no, he was more lively than the other fellow, and liked to have a good time. The other fellow, Mr. G, studied. He wanted to go off by himself. I think he was going to study for a minister or a lawyer or something, because he always had a book with him. This was correct. Mr. G, did he ever sing? Spirit, who? Mr. G, this other fellow. Spirit, I don't know very much about him. I was just a helper around. Mr. G, did you work around at their home? Spirit, no, I lived southwest. The farm was in the hollow, in the distance. You could go up the hill and then down in the hollow. That's the place. Mr. G, down toward W? Spirit, yes. Mr. G, did you have an accident there? Spirit, I can't remember. I know I had something the matter with my head. There were a lot of fellows out with the threshing machine, the threshing gang. Mr. G, you must have been hurt very badly at that time. Spirit, do you mean when they were threshing on that farm? What is the matter with my head? Mr. G, you must have been so badly hurt that you passed on. Doctor, possibly you thought you went to sleep. You lost your physical body. Most people would call you dead, but you're not really dead. Mr. G, did you know Tom? Another spirit who had previously been dislodged from Mr. G. He is a good friend of mine. Spirit, yes, and he is here. He says he came here to help you. But how is he going to help you? Mr. G, ask Tom. Doctor, ask him why he's going to help this gentleman and why he needs help. Spirit, Tom says to me, you get out. Doctor, you listen to him. He will teach you the truth. Spirit, if he tells me anything that isn't true, I'll knock his block off. Tom says that for God's sake, no, excitedly. Tom says that he says that I have been sponging on that man, Mr. G, for years. Doctor, it sounds strange, but it is true. Mr. G, Tom did it too. He bothered me a great deal. Now he is a good friend of mine, as you are. You and I are going to be good friends, are we not? Spirit, why did I get so mad at things? Doctor, when you hurt your head, you may have disturbed your mind. Spirit, Tom says he's trying to help you get rid of me. That's what he says. He's going to get left. Why does he want to get rid of me? Mr. G, then you will be free. He is a good friend of ours. We are all going to work together. You will have your own body, and you will not have to get out of anyone. Spirit, I don't understand what you folks mean. Doctor, I will explain. Don't contradict me, no matter how foolish it may seem to you. I will tell you nothing but the absolute truth. Spirit, if you don't, you look out. Doctor, you lost your mortal body some time ago. It is now 1922. Spirit, you mean 1892. Doctor, that was when Cleveland was president the second time. You have been so-called dead all these years. There is no actual death. The mind is one thing, the body another. It is the physical body which dies, but not the mind or spirit. You are not talking through your own body now. Spirit, I'm not? Doctor, no, you are speaking through my wife. She is so constituted that spirits can control her and speak through her, and we are having these investigating circles to come in contact with spirits like yourself. Ignorant spirits often influence mortals and disturb their balance. You conveyed your temper to this gentleman, Mr. G, and made him act as if he had a bad temper. Spirit, I did? Mr. G, did you used to ride in that machine? Spirit, yes, but I hate it. Doctor, I'll tell you about those machines. About 1896, they began to invent what they call automobiles. These machines go without horses, for they run by their own power. We have millions of them now. Spirit, what have they done with their fine horses? Doctor, they do not use them now. Automobiles are very convenient. You can travel 100 miles an hour, but the average is 20 or 25 miles an hour. Like 50, 60. Spirit, I wouldn't ride in one that goes that fast. Probably good advice. Doctor, you can travel 200 or 300 miles a day. These machines have been invented since you lost your body. We have airplanes now that fly in the air, and we can telegraph without any wires. We can even talk across the ocean without any wires. You cannot realize what wonderful things have happened since you passed out. You do not know that you are in California now. Or do you know that you are in California now? Spirit, I feel so weak. Doctor, don't lose control, friend, until you give us your name. Spirit, I don't know it. My head is such a mess. My head is in such a mess. Don't bother me, and I will tell it to you in a little while. For a long time, I have had so many different names that I don't remember my name at all. Doctor, look around. Your mother may be here. Spirit, I heard my mother call me one time. Sometimes I'm Charlie, sometimes Henry, sometimes a man, and sometimes a woman, so I don't know what name to give you. It's so long since I heard my own name that I seem to have forgotten it. Mr. G, ask Tom what your name is. Spirit, he says my name is Fred. Yes, that's it, Fred. Mr. G, Fred what? Asked Tom. Spirit, how can a man forget his own name? There must be something the matter with me. Doctor, what did they call your father? What did your father do? Mr. G, was he a farmer? Spirit, no, he was not a farmer, but he had some land. We were further down from that college where that church was. My father was a German. Mrs. G, Mr. G, was he a Mennonite? Spirit, no, my father came where they were, but they went further back. What is the matter with me? Why can't I think what my name is? Mr. G, Tom will tell you if you ask him. Spirit, I can't get certain places. I can get certain places and things. Then I can't go any further. I remember Fred, because everybody called me that. Doctor, well, I wouldn't worry about it anymore. Your memory will come back to you. You are a spirit, and when you leave here, intelligent spirits will take care of you. Spirit, Tom says he's going to take me to a home of rest. I have been so worried, and I get so tired out that I get mad at everything. I will not be angry anymore. Whenever I got mad, I suffered terribly after it. I always felt so bad because I could not control myself. I always felt so sorry I said such mean things, and I was too proud to acknowledge it, but I knew it just the same. Tom says, "Come on, we must go. I want to go now." To Mr. G, Tom says I must ask you if you will forgive me for making so much mischief for you. Mr. G, we are going to help you, and let bygones be bygones. Spirit, you are not mad at me, are you? Mr. G, not at all. Spirit, I feel so weak. What will I do? I'm too weak to go with Tom. Doctor, that weakness is common experience with spirits when they begin to understand. It is only a temporary sensation. You are merely losing control. Think yourself with Tom and the mercy band of spirits. Spirit, my head feels so funny. Am I going crazy? You'd better get a doctor because I think I'm going to die. Yeah. Doctor, you will be all right as soon as you leave this body. Spirit, I need a doctor, for the blood is all coming up in my throat, and I can't breathe. I feel so choked. Maybe I can go to sleep. Doctors always say if you can sleep, it is better when you feel weak. I am not going to die, am I? Doctor, you must remember that you are a spirit and are controlling a mortal body. Spirit, Fred Haupt is my name. Tom says I must ask for you to forgive me because I have made so much trouble in getting you in a temper. Mr. G, certainly I forgive you. Thank Tom for helping both you and me. Spirit, goodbye. Silver Star, the Indian guide of Mrs. Wicklund, then came in and said to Mr. G, "We got the man. Now we are going to take him to a hospital. We worked hard to get him. He was so in your magnetic aura that it seemed like taking a piece out of your body to detach him from you. He had been with you for a long time. He was with you when you were a child. When things did not go right for him, he flew into a temper. It will be a great relief to have him away, and you will feel like a new person. You will not feel so irritable. He has been working on you nearly all your life, but lately he has become stronger and stronger until he almost had control of you. Now we have him, and he won't bother you any more. He is very weak and needs hospital care. He can hardly walk. He will have to be nursed. He has been living on you, and with that strength taken away from him, he is very weak, but he will be taken care of."